our aim here, and just like it is in a lot of other places where we're attempting to use water supply storage assets for consumptive use mitigation and essentially drought relief to offset water use during droughts, was to basically, during times of extreme low flows on, in this case, the lower Susquehanna River, we have a water supply storage asset that can be drawn upon to augment flows in the river at the time, and in its essence, try to replace consumptive losses we regulate in the adjacent area.
These are the white cliffs of Kenoi. They're the leftover lime cuttings or lime drippings you get from the quarry. They were built over about 100 years in a slurry, and they cementified like cement. And it gives a pretty good outlook. Because the pH is really high, trees don't grow here, so it gives you a really, really good vantage place. So a quick history of the quarry. Originally, this area was a site of the Kenoi Indian village. Most likely, they probably mined it as well. When William Penn got the land grant, he deeded this to the Haldemans, who turned it into a lime quarry. Continuously operated from around the early 1700s as a mule and pickaxe operation to about 1955, I want to say, with steam shovel. At which point, the quarry was a little played out. It was kind of met its limits and closed down. It sat empty and refilled with water from 1955 roughly until about 1980, when a former Navy SEAL from Vietnam decided to open it back up as a scuba school training. One of the reasons why that was really advantageous to him is that the deepest part of this quarry is 130 feet deep. To certify in the Navy SEALs, you have to go above 100 feet. There are very few places that are actually deep enough to certify. So this was a premier scuba diving area on the East Coast for many, many years. This fellow eventually had a nice long career, decided to retire, as all people should. And the next door neighbor, Swamo, decided to buy it since they were next door and approached us about using it for consumptive use. And so this long history from small mule and pickaxe quarry to scuba school to now consumptive use mitigation asset.
10 years ago, I suppose, we got a notification from Lancaster County Solid Waste Management Authority. They were aware of our consumptive use mitigation requirements, and they knew we had an interest in screening our watershed for water supply storage assets in flooded and abandoned quarries like this. And their environmental manager at the time gave us a call and asked us to come out and take a look at the property that was just acquired because it contained the quarry. And so that's kind of how we got involved in the project, and that's spawned a series of studies from initial water quality sampling, bathymetric survey to see how much volume was here, and then ultimately a pumping test to make sure that dewatering it wasn't just drawing water recirculated from the river. One attractive element of this project we've talked about a number of times is its proximity to Bruner Island power station, and the fact that it's just coincidence, but they consumptively use around the same amount of water we're able to discharge here at this project when we're operating at our operating level. So you can think of it as this project during extreme low flows and droughts basically offsets other consumptive uses like Bruner Island in an attempt to try to maintain stream flow during droughts for other water users, including aquatic ecosystem needs. This is an asset where there's not really any permanent infrastructure, it's more temporary. So we need a window to get out and basically implement the project, make it operational. So this year we decided, considering the low flow conditions earlier in the season, the long-term forecast, that it really was ripe to get out and put some of the infrastructure in place so that should we have another year where we dry out in the summer, in the fall, we can be that much quicker to mobilize and operate the project as it's needed.
I believe they had to use over 6,000 feet of pipe. That pipe is pretty much indestructible. So right now we're pumping around 6,200 gallons a minute, which for a whole day equals about 9 Olympic-sized swimming pools. And we're gonna do that for 10 days. So that's 90 Olympic-sized swimming pools over this time, and that's quite a lot of water. Out there are our big pumps. That's what's actually doing the work here. We have 3 pumps, each capable of doing 3,500 gallons. We're only using 2 at this point. In case one breaks, we have a backup and we can fix it. The first time we investigated this, we thought the quarry was all just one big, giant reservoir. Well, it turns out that there's an old haul road in the middle and it creates a barrier. What you see back here is our discharge from the smaller basin on the other side. Previously, we actually ran the hose over the barrier in the middle of the pool itself. That was very challenging to get boats out there to fix anything. So instead we went through a land route around the old road on the outside and discharge it. The advantage is though, is a nice little waterfall. It adds dissolved oxygen, which helps make the water better. We have a very similar setup on the other side of the quarry, and that has, again, 2 pumps. Only one's being used, and the other one's backup in case we need it. That kind of puts together our whole system, and it's fed through our water meter and out to the Susquehanna. So we've been very lucky with our partners here at the commission, especially on this quarry. The first partner obviously is Lancaster County Solid Waste Management Authority. They own the actual physical property. They leased out the water rights to us. They've been very, very helpful. Number 2 is our subcontractor, Modern Pump Company out of Liverpool, Pennsylvania, just up the river. They did an outstanding job mobilizing and installing for our first time out here. Also DEP, who helped us get a temporary NPDES permit for discharge into the river. There are other partners as well. The county was involved, was notified. DCNR, obviously, and also Conoy Township were made aware. So it's been an all around great effort with our partners. Part of our work here is understanding how much flow we're getting. In other words, how much we're pumping so that we know we meet our permit requirement. Also know how much water we pumped in total, and then also how much the water has gone down. So here we have our first piece, which is how far the water has gone down. This is a level logger that measures depth. And when we take a reading, it'll compute it and tell me, okay, it is now 240, and we have 13.12 feet. 13.12 feet, which means we've gone down about 7.5 feet since we started. Next up we have, this is called a water meter. This is in everybody's house. This is a really large one compared to your 3/4 inch or maybe 1 inch you have at home. So in here, when we flip it open, you'll notice that the top part has a rate. Right now we're pumping at 6,240 gallons per minute. That's a rate we write down. And the other part of it in here is the total amount, or totalizer. We've pumped 72,790,000 gallons. And we have to make sure that we don't put water in the river that's worse than what's there. So to do that, we monitor water quality. We do that here by using a sonde. This is the sonde right here. It measures 15 different parameters, of which were really important is the pH, the temperature, the dissolved oxygen, and of course the total suspended solids. In other words, how much dirt is in the water. And to continually monitor it, we designed this flow-through system here, thanks to the help of some of our staff, where we put water in, it flows in completely, goes through the outside, and then we get continuous monitoring. A pretty ingenious system. If without that, we'd have to be on site almost 24 hours a day. One of the reasons we use this quarry is because it's a very tight container. And so when we pull the water out from storage, it doesn't recharge very fast. Anything from 50 to maybe 150 gallons a minute naturally, not counting rain. So every inch of rain, we get 1 more inch of water in the quarry, which is about 1 million gallons. So we're hoping that within 3 to 6 months with normal hydrologic conditions, we'll be just about back to where we were before, so that in 6 months, if there's another drought condition, we're ready and can anticipate it. That's why we stopped our test at around 11 feet. If we go through an abnormally dry period, it may take longer, but at least we still have another 300 million gallons behind us here that we can still use. The most important thing is it's an asset that already exists in the basin that we got to repurpose. Before, it was just sitting here, an old quarry. So we make it, available again. Number 2, it offsets, use in the basin so that we have water availability for drinking water, for fishing, and also for industry. And then lastly, these projects are really good because they help everybody in the basin. And that's really rewarding to actually see something come through fruition. I hate to say it, but this is exactly how we wrote it out. So no pump failures. We've had very good crew on site, so hopefully this is actually a really good model for future use.